Why you don't have any affluent clients? Bum, bum, bum.
Dun, dun,
Yep.
dun.
Yeah, this is a question that comes up. It's a major desire for interior designers for obvious reasons, right? Affluent clients, that's when you get the whole home. That's when you get a new build. That's when a lot of the magic of being an interior designer can come to fruition because they have the budgets, they have the ability, they have the experience of working with designers, but you have to get them. And
So, no, to start us off, like why would a designer find him or herself in a situation where they don't have any affluent clients? How do you find yourself in that unfortunate predicament?
the first reason is it comes with a decision. And so, there might be the thought of like, well, duh, all designers want affluent clients. Okay, that's a desire. But the decision that I am going to work with affluent clients. Because once that decision is made, then the path can appear.
Yeah, let's take it back to, if you think back to the beginning of your career, whether you just started 6 months ago or you started 6 years ago or 60 years ago, most people, the thing we have to understand is that not most of us, but maybe many of us did not grow up in an affluent family or an affluent community. So if you are in that situation, what you will find most of the time is that you don't have a peer group of people who are wealthy, who work with interior designers all the time. So for example, when I speak with a lot of designers, even if they've been in business for a long time, a lot of times they'll say, well, I'm my target market. I want to work with people like me. But the truth is, if you look at yourself honestly and say, are you wealthy? Are you affluent? Because in that case, then you can't really necessarily afford your own services. Like you can't do your own whole house and pay yourself a fat design fee. And that's what we're trying to solve always, is to say, how can we make sure that we maximize both the value we get for our time, but also the value we get for our creativity, right? So we're able to actually do the work we want to do rather than work with people who are like, well, I can't afford that, or I can't do the whole house. I've got to do it room by room by room. And the project takes 6 years, right? Yeah. So tell us more about that, Nona. What about making the decision is so important?
Once the decision is made, then comes the openness of discovering how to make that happen. And that is the difference between the desire of having affluent clients versus the decision. Because once you're committed to that, then it is looking holistically at your business, at yourself, really getting real about your experience, your thoughts about affluent clients, and all the details in order to better understand them and thus know how to start attracting them.
Yeah, if nothing else, just to come up with an actual strategy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that there is no strategy in just waiting. That's not a strategy. Like putting up your website or going on Instagram and posting every day is not a strategy for landing affluent clients.
No.
You can ask yourself, like, are there any affluent clients or prospective clients going to my website? If the answer is no, then there's your answer. Are my affluent prospective clients coming to my Instagram feed? They're not going to just magically appear. And I do want to clarify that for people too. You really need to understand that affluent clients are typically not just hanging out on Instagram all day because they got better things to do.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Just having tactics that might work. It's not
a plan.
It's not a plan, and it's still not a decision, because it's still falling within the realm of, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and then they're going to find me.
Ooh, I want to stop right there, because you just said something really, really, really important. I want to make sure that our audience understands the value of what you just shared, which is doing what you want to do has nothing to do with this solution of actually connecting with affluent clients. What you want to do might be to be on Instagram all day, but if they're not there, then it's never going to work. You're never going to succeed at this, whether it's a desire or a decision to actually get affluent clients. If you haven't figured out where they are, then all the Instagramming in the world is not going to get you anything. So that's an amazing point that I don't want our folks to miss. So,
Well,
so
thank you.
what's next, Nona? Like, there's a decision, but what else is important in this situation?
Yeah, well, some designers have shared like, okay, I've decided I'm going to work with affluent clients, so I'm going to go to where they are. So they join a social club, they join a golf club, right? With the intention of like, okay, so I'm going to work with them, and gosh darn it, people like me. So I'm going to make friends with them. And once we're friends, then I will have my entrance into this collection or this circle of affluent clients in my city, in my community. And yes, you might make friends with them, but just because you're friends does not mean that they're going to become a client of yours. And that can be a tough pill to swallow, and sometimes almost impossible for designers to hear it. Because when it comes to affluent clients, like becoming their friend, yeah, absolutely, right? They're good people, do it. But that's when you end up with clients who want to be your bestie, and then they blow you up text messages all day, all night, on the weekend. Then if they feel like you've somehow slighted them, then they just scorch the earth around you. They try to, twist you into giving them a friend discount. So yeah, you might get some work there, but it's not really the kind of work you want. It doesn't make it sustainable overall, if that is your approach.
And let's talk about that too, because I think that you just made another really important point, which is that mostly I would go so far as to say that most affluent people, especially if they've made their own money, they're clever about money. That's really like one of the things that they're good at is money. Specifically, money is a thing, and you can be good at it or you can be bad at it. It has to do with your mindset. It has to do with your energy, what you attract, what you repel, all those kinds of things. We won't get too deep into that today. But I will say, though, that when you think about this, when you think about your money skills, right? If your money skills are not great, which for most of us, if we're not saying that we're not at that level of the game yet, remember that now you're dealing with people who are masters at the game. They have mastered the game of money. So guess what they're going to be really good at? They're going to be really good at negotiating. They're going to be really good at pushing back on fees. They're going to be really good at these things. So when you position yourself as a friend, automatically, then you give them a negotiating tactic, which is, well, you're my friend. So you need to give me this discount, or you need to do it for less than you normally do it. So tread very, very carefully. A lot of times people are surprised. They're like, wow, wealthy people, like why are they negotiating with me? Or why are they doing this? Or why are they doing that? Like, they're rich. What does it matter? This has nothing to do with logic, and the amount of money a person has nothing to do with the kind of client that they are or can be. You're going to meet affluent clients in your career who are amazing, and working with them is a dream. And you could just as easily meet affluent clients who are a nightmare. Just like you can meet people who are middle class or even working class and lower who are amazing clients and incredibly grateful and recognize your talent and shower you with whatever you want, money, attention, praise, whatever it might be. And at the same time, there's going to be those exact same clients who are just terrible. So people come in all shapes and sizes, all flavors, all levels of wealth. Don't make assumptions about people just because they have money that they're a certain way. Don't assume that they're miserly, because it's absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. Affluent people did not get to where they are only by being miserly either. Some of them did, but most of them didn't. None of you were going to add something, so please go and jump in.
Well, and that I like the idea of really being clear and not just lumping them into a group or groups of ideas. And that's what I want to highlight with the friends approach, is that then you're lumping into this idea that they only hire people because they're friends. And that doesn't take away like referrals, because that's very real. And, that at a certain point that relationships, that is what the wealthy deal in.
The
right?
currency. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And so going this idea of joining the club, being friends, showing pictures, going on vacation with them, that is not going to necessarily lead you into that circle as a professional.
Excellent point.
Because affluent people will hire someone because they like them, but not always, because that's not how they judge. That's not how they make the decision of hiring a professional in any arena. Right?
Yeah.
And
well, there's 2 points I want to add real quick. Number one is, the process we always about getting to know somebody, whether a client hires you or not. First, they have to know you, so they have to know you exist. Period. Then they have to like you, right? They like you, so they don't think that you're a criminal. They don't think you're going to rob them or anything like that. They like you. But the third factor is they trust you, and that trust has nothing to do with friendship. It has to do with professionalism. It has to do with, are you a professional? Can I trust you with my business? Can I trust you with my home? The most personal thing in my life. If they're affluent and they like to host, this is going to be my reputation that you're building for me for the next 5 years. Think about the importance of that role.
Yes, you're exactly right. And this ties into the third point. So then how do you get that trust? If it's not through friendship, it's not through the golf court or the golf club, how do you gain that trust? Especially if you've decided you're going to work with affluent clients, but you haven't crossed that bridge yet. And then here's the spoiler alert. How do you do it automatically? It's with systems. Because that is how you build trust initially. And systems being, how are you attracting them? How are you leading them through the process? Because when they trust you, when you have systems, they know you are a professional. And they're professionals. That's what they're looking for. That's what needs to be there.
Yeah, and let's expand upon that a little bit, because it's such a critical point and it's so accurate. So wealthy people, and I want to just real quick make my second thing I wanted to bring up, which is the difference between mass affluent people and affluent people. So mass affluence is, your upper middle class people, your doctors, your lawyers, folks like that who have 2-income households. They have a lot of income and stuff like that, but they don't necessarily have a lot of assets. They have a lot of expenses as well. They're living well and stuff like that. So these are what we call mass affluent people, and that's great. But their attitude about things and how they do things is very different from the affluent people. And there is definitely that next level of people where their job is actually managing their money. That's where you get up to that level where now, like, you're sitting on the boards of charities. It's a very different, rarefied world where it's not about what you do for a living anymore, but actually who you're connected to. Mm-hmm. So you can see why it's so important that getting like a referral from somebody who's in this community is like gold. And in fact, all of their connections, that is their social capital, because money is no longer an issue. They're not hustling. They're not worried about like paying the rent or paying a mortgage. That's not an issue anymore. Now it's, who do I know? Who's in my circle? Who's in my world? Who I can help? Who can help me? How can we make the world better? All the different things that you want to spend your time doing now, So that's the key, though, is that it's going to be a referral. So these people, then, they need to trust you, because it's their reputation when they refer you to somebody else. Mm-hmm. If they refer you to somebody bad, they will never hear the end of it. Mm-hmm. And we've experienced this in our own lives, where we talk with people who, you make a referral to somebody and all of a sudden it's like, that's it. That relationship is done because you referred the wrong person. And how critical it is in this more rarefied world of your reputation, knowing the right people, being connected to the right people, be able to refer the right people. If you are the designer of choice for a group of people like that, I mean, you're almost never going to have to advertise again in your life, because you're going to have this entree into this world forever. It's the ultimate in what you would want to accomplish.
Yeah. And there's just so many elements of that, and how to make it seamless and how to have it feel natural. And that's where, if you don't have a system, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And the other point I would piggyback on that too is that, if you are not imposing the system of how you do things, they will impose their system on you
Uh-huh.
because they have a system. So if you don't have a system, you're following their system, and that system is going to be not in your favor.
Exactly.
Your system needs to exist. So when they talk to you, say, great, this is how we get started. This is how we work. This is the first thing that's going to happen. This is the next thing that's going to happen. And what that does is it gives them that confidence. Oh, this person knows what they're doing. Because believe me, if for a second they don't have confidence in you, you're going to start following this system. They're going to say, great, why don't you come over here on this day and do this thing and this other thing and meet my butler, whatever it might be, right? Those are the things. Now all of a sudden you're following their system. And that is a world that's a world of hurt that you're starting to get into.
Yes, and then you are using their system instead of yours, which means you can't use it with others.
Also
Not
true.
in that affluent arena.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. I mean, that's the key is that, when it comes to affluent clients, let's sum up for everybody, right?
please.
The first thing is you just have to decide that you want to work with them. So, but you have to make an active decision where you're going to go out and pursue those clients. No, what's the second one again?
The second one is they're not friends. I mean, they can be friends, but once you make the decision to then try to be their friend and the idea that that's how you're going to get your work is heading down the wrong road.
Yeah. And it could take years too. that process, could take so long too.
Because affluent clients will hire you even without being your friend. And they almost prefer to keep that relationship professional. That is why don't be friends. I mean, be friendly, obviously, but
yeah, friendly, not friends. That's a great way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the third thing?
Is you have to have a system. You have to have a system for attracting them. You have to have a system for the relationship. You have to have a system for how you take it from they find you, hear about you, or meet you into a consultation, into the letter of agreement, into, all the way through.
Yeah. And if you find yourself where you're in the unfortunate situation where you even have affluent clients, but you feel more like a gopher than a trusted advisor, then it's your systems that have led you to that point or lack of them.
Yes.
So you've got to get to work on this and solve this so that you can get back into the position of prominence that you want to be and not treat it like a gopher. Because you can end up that way, and it's really, have compassion. People will treat you the way you ask to be treated. The way you show them is okay. So if you're telegraphing that that's what you will accept, that is what you will get. And it's unfortunate, but we just want to make sure that you understand that you can't let down your guard. You've got to keep the systems. You've got to keep the barriers. It's really, really critical.
Yeah, hold your boundaries. Yep. Hold your boundaries, and they respect it.
Yeah, and that's okay. And then everybody wins, and you get paid, and everybody's happy. So
yeah, and refer.
No, listen. If I'm a designer and let's say I've made a decision, I need to change my clientele. I'm tired of working with tire kickers. People are negotiating. People are going around me and trying to buy, from my sources, or they always ask me for my trade discount or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
What should we do? How can we get out of that situation? Start moving towards working with affluent clients.
Connect with us. www.breakthroughcall.us. And that this recipe, if you will, also relates to designers who are working with affluent clients and are being treated like a servant. So if you find yourself, you're not working with the right kinds of clients, or you are working with the kind of client that you want, but not really as far as it comes to how they treat you, how they compensate you, how they respect you, let's connect. This breakthroughcall.us, we do this on purpose. We open up our calendar for a few days, for a few hours, so that we can connect with interior designers, because you don't deserve to be treated less than the professional that you are. And we know that when you're running a business, when you are a professional interior designer, there's so much going on and there's so much noise out there that sometimes it's so hard to find the clarity of really understanding what is actually happening and how do I change this? And that is one of the major reasons why we offer these breakthrough calls.
Yeah, and what we do is we really talk about the strategy. So if you've made a decision you want to go after affluent clients, then you need to have a strategy for how you're going to reach them effectively. It has to be affordable. Like you have to be able to do it in time and money if there's money involved. It has to be something you can actually do, but you have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, then your plan is hope. Your plan is sitting back and waiting and just hoping that something's going to happen. It doesn't happen that way. Bless you. And if at the same time, if you already are working with some affluent clients, but it's not working, it's because you still don't have the right strategy for how you're going to make sure then to take them through a system, a process, every single time that's the same, that gets the outcome that you want, which is a super happy client, a fat paycheck, right? Money in the bank, all the bills paid, all the bills on autopilot, and great photography, so that you can go out there and get the next client who's also going to have the exact same experience, and they just want to refer you like crazy because they love working with you. And that's what happens when you do this and you actually have the strategy, you have the systems in place. Now you have a business that rocks. You can hire assistants if you want. You can get yourself an accountant to count all your dough, all the things that you need, pay your taxes, all the stuff that needs to be done to run the business of your dreams so that you can focus on design. You can focus on that aspect that you just love.
Absolutely. Well, G, thank you so much. To all our people, breakthroughcall.us, your future self will thank you for it. And there's no reason to suffer there's no reason to suffer with bad clients. So
you put yourself in that situation, you can easily get yourself out of that situation. You just got to make the decision that no mas, time to change.
That's right. And by booking this call, it can sometimes be the first step towards that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, everybody, great to see you.
Yes.
Have a great weekend.
Ditto.
And we will see you next week on the small screen.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Be safe. Bye.